I need to take you back 8 months before that night, to when the first cracks in my relationship with my daughter Jolene began to widen into canyons. Jolene was my only child, my pride and joy since the day her mother Sarah brought her into this world 38 years ago. Sarah had been gone for 8 years now, taken by cancer that moved through her body like a thief in the night, stealing pieces of her until nothing remained but memories and a daughter who looked so much like her that sometimes it hurt to breathe. Jolene married Duncan Parker 4 years ago, a smooth-talking man with expensive suits and even more expensive habits. I should have seen it then, should have recognized the predatory glint in his eyes when he first looked at my house, but I was lonely after Sarah died, and Jolene's happiness seemed like the only thing that mattered. They moved in with me temporarily while they saved for a down payment, but 2 years became 4, and their savings never materialized, though their lifestyle certainly did. The first red flag came when Jolene asked to be added to my credit card account for emergencies. I trusted her implicitly, my love for her blinding me to the reality that she was no longer the little girl who used to bring me dandelions and call them sunshine flowers. Within months, emergencies became designer handbags, expensive dinners, and first-class tickets to destinations I could only dream of visiting. When I questioned the charges, Jolene would turn on the tears, Duncan would put his arm around her and say, "Tobias, we're just enjoying life while we can. You only live once, right?" The second red flag came when I had my first heart episode last September. I was sitting in my recliner watching old movies when suddenly my chest tightened like a fist squeezing the life out of me. The room spun, colors blurred, and I remember thinking, so this is how it ends. I managed to call 911 before collapsing. When I woke up in the hospital, Dr. Chun explained I'd had a minor heart attack and needed to take things easy, start medication, and make lifestyle changes. Jolene and Duncan showed up 6 hours later, looking annoyed rather than concerned. "Dad, you scared us," Jolene said, but her eyes kept darting to her phone where Duncan was texting her updates about some urgent business matter. It was during my 3-day hospital stay that I first noticed something was truly wrong. Jolene kept asking detailed questions about my medications, their side effects, interactions with other drugs. I thought she was just being a caring daughter, but now I realized she was gathering information, studying my vulnerabilities like a predator studies its prey. When I returned home, I found papers moved, drawers slightly ajar, my personal documents examined. That's when I bought the Sony PCMD 100 professional recorder, the same one I'd used during my 20 years as a sound engineer at Portland Center Stage before retirement. I started recording conversations, placing the device in strategic locations around the house. What I captured over the next 8 months would systematically destroy the image I had of my daughter, replacing it with something monstrous, something that had been wearing her face like a mask. The recordings began innocuously enough, discussions about vacations they planned to take, investments Duncan was making, renovations they wanted to do to my house. But gradually, their true intentions emerged. In a recording from October, I heard Duncan say, "The house is worth like $650K. And once he..." Jolene interrupted, "Don't say it like that." Duncan laughed, "The prescription bottles keep multiplying. Nature taking its course." In November, I recorded them discussing my will with an attorney over speakerphone. "Are you sure he hasn't changed it?" Duncan asked. Jolene replied, "I checked his safe last week. Still the same, everything split between me and Quinn. Quinn is my niece, my late wife's sister's daughter, who has always been like a second daughter to me." Duncan continued, "We need to get him to change it, make you the sole beneficiary. Maybe we can convince him he's being unfair to you by splitting it." By December, their conversations had become even more chilling. I heard Duncan ask, "Did you get the life insurance papers signed?" Jolene responded, "Not yet. He keeps procrastinating. I'll try again after the holidays." They discussed my health with the clinical detachment of doctors discussing a terminal patient. "His blood pressure was high again," Jolene noted. "Good," Duncan replied. "The stress from the business venture I pitched him might help things along." What hurt most wasn't just their greed, it was the cold calculation behind it, the way they discussed my impending death as a business transaction, an inconvenience to be accelerated. I lay awake at night listening to these recordings, my heart breaking with each word, each revelation of betrayal. Sarah had always said Jolene had a weak character, that she was easily influenced, but I had defended her, argued that she just needed guidance. Now I saw the truth. Jolene wasn't weak, she was wicked, and Duncan had simply given her permission to embrace the darkness that had always lurked within her. The final straw came in February when I had my second heart episode, this one more severe than the first. I was in the kitchen making tea when the pain hit, sharp and unforgiving. I collapsed onto the floor, my phone just out of reach. I lay there for 20 minutes before the cleaning lady found me and called an ambulance. At the hospital, Dr. Chin told me I was lucky to be alive, that I needed immediate lifestyle changes and possibly surgery. When Jolene finally arrived, she wasn't crying or upset, she was irritated. "Dad, you can't keep doing this," she said, checking her reflection in the window. "Duncan and I have plans tonight." That night, in my hospital bed, I made my decision. I would no longer be a victim in my own life, a passive observer waiting for my daughter and her husband to finish me off. I would fight back with everything I had, using their own words, their own recorded voices as weapons against them. Over the next 3 months, I gathered evidence systematically. I created the evidence box, filling it with printed bank statements showing $73,000 in unauthorized charges, text screenshots where they discussed my finances and health, credit card bills for luxury items I'd never seen, and a small notebook with time-stamped entries of their most incriminating conversations. I made 3 USB copies of everything, labeled each evidence May 2025, and distributed them to Quinn, my neighbor Goldie, and my attorney Trevor. I also contacted a locksmith, a young man who counted his cash twice before changing all 3 locks on my house, front, back, and side entrance. I told him there had been break-ins in the neighborhood, which wasn't entirely a lie. My daughter and son-in-law had been breaking my heart for months. The night of the confrontation, I lay in bed fully clothed, my phone on the nightstand with the recording app open, sensitivity maxed. The cardiologist's office had called twice that day, but I'd rescheduled my appointment for Thursday. Some things were more important than my health, some things were worth dying for if necessary. At 2:43 a.m., my phone's audio monitor spiked. I could hear a car engine, Duncan's Audi with its distinctive rattle. Car doors, voices, footsteps on the walk, keys jingling at the front door, metal scraping metal, stopping. Trying again, rattling. What the hell? Duncan's voice, muffled but clear. The recording captured everything, the audio waveform spiking on my screen. Metal scraping. Duncan's frustration. That's weird. Jolene's voice through the door. What? My key's not working. More scraping, harder this time. I moved to the window, watching Jolene under the porch light, her designer dress catching the glow. Duncan behind her, tie loosened. What the hell? Did you get the wrong key? It's my key, Duncan. I've used it for 2 years. The second key failed too. Rattling. Nothing. Something's wrong with the lock. Duncan examined the door, tried his key. Same result. Call him. It's 3 a.m. He's your father. Jolene knocked, polite at first. Dad, there's something wrong with the door. I checked my watch. 2:54 a.m. Let it develop. Her knocking got louder. Dad, wake up. Louder. He's probably asleep. Daddy, open the door. Lights turned on across the street, then next door at Goldie's. She'd been waiting. Duncan walked around the house, checking the back door, the side entrance, both locked. He returned, face red. He changed the locks, all of them. Jolene stopped pounding. What? Why would he? Because he's being difficult. The pounding resumed, louder, more desperate. I moved downstairs, my cane finding each step in the dark. Duncan headed toward the garage, emerged with something in his hands, my wood-splitting tool, the vintage one from 1940 that had been in my family for generations. Jolene saw it, her face went white. What are you doing? Getting into my house. He approached the door, axe raised. I flipped the porch light to full brightness, hit the intercom. I'd stop right there. They froze. Jolene screamed briefly. Turn around. You have a surprise waiting. 3 Portland police cruisers rolled up the street, lights off until that moment. Then red and blue painted everything. Jolene's purse hit the porch, contents scattered. Duncan's axe dropped. Hands up before officers left their cars. Next door, Goldie stood on her porch, phone up, recording. Officer Davis approached. Good evening. We got a call about trespassers threatening to break in. He looked at the axe in Duncan's hand, at Jolene. Looks like we got here just in time. I opened the door, stayed on the threshold. Mr. Garrett, that's right. These individuals live here with you. Did, I corrected. I asked them to leave multiple times. Sent formal eviction notice 3 weeks ago. They refused. Tonight, they returned and attempted to break in. Do you feel threatened, sir? I'm 70 years old with a heart condition. A man half my age with an axe. I looked directly at Duncan. Yes. Davis turned to Duncan. Sir, you're under arrest. The cuffs went on. Duncan's face collapsed. Jolene started crying. This is insane. Daddy, tell them this is a mistake. Davis examined my property deed, the eviction notice, the certified mail receipt. April 18th, signature required. He showed Duncan. That yours? Through the cruiser window, Duncan yelled, I want my lawyer. Davis turned to Jolene. Ma'am, did you see this eviction notice? What eviction notice? Dad, I never, Duncan's voice cut across. Shut up, Jolene. Davis made a note. Ma'am, you're not under arrest currently, but you are trespassing. Mr. Garrett is within his rights. You have 30 minutes to gather personal necessities only. Everything else will be delivered within a week. She looked at me like she'd never seen me before. Officer Davis led her inside. I stood in the living room while she moved through like a ghost, touching furniture, stopping at photos. On the coffee table sat the evidence box, open, empty, label visible, evidence 2024-2025. Jolene saw it while grabbing clothes, stopped, stared. Her face drained white. She knew I'd been documenting something for months, but the box was empty, everything already distributed. After she left, suitcase wheels clicking down the walk, the street went quiet. I closed the door, new lock, new key. The click sounded different. Final. My phone buzzed. Text from Goldie, posted doorbell video to neighborhood group. Everyone will know by tomorrow. Another buzz. Quinn, police scanner shows activity. Are you okay? I sat on the couch, hands shaking now, adrenaline wearing off. Under papers on the coffee table, a credit card. Statement I hadn't seen yet. Portland Fertility Center. 450, Laurelhurst Medical Drive, Chin, OBGYN 275. I opened my bank account, more charges, first response pregnancy tests, 24 by 99. Providence Hospital Lab Services, 180. My daughter was pregnant. Or claimed to be. My phone rang, unknown number. 3:47 a.m. Mr. Garrett, Riverside Collections Agency calling about accounts held by Jolene and Duncan Parker. Total debt $85,000. You're listed as co-signer. I never co-signed anything. Sir, we have applications with your signature. Then they're forged. I hung up. $85,000 in forged debt. Pregnancy charges. Duncan in jail. Jolene evicted. I'd won. Changed the locks. Called police. Documented everything. So why did my chest hurt? I woke up on my living room floor. Goldie's face above me. Don't move. Ambulance coming. I don't need, I collapsed again. Been out 3 minutes. The evidence papers scattered around me. Pills everywhere. Phone screen cracked. Heart issue. Don't know. But you're 70 with a heart condition. So yes, we're getting you checked. At Providence, Portland, they ran tests. Dr. Patel examined everything. Mr. Garrett, you didn't have a heart attack. You had a fainting spell caused by extreme stress and exhaustion. When's the last time you ate? I couldn't remember. Your body's saying you need to stop. I can't stop. Then you'll end up back here permanently. They kept me 6 hours. Quinn called 17 times. Hospital, I texted. I'm fine. Fainting, not heart attack. I'm getting on a plane. She hung up before I could argue. Trevor called next. Heard you're in hospital. Should I postpone Friday's hearing? No. What's the status? Restraining order filed. Civil suit filed. Detective Rodriguez wants statement tomorrow. Can you make 2 p.m.? I'll make it. Before discharge, an email notification arrived from county clerk. Document filed 6 months ago, September 2024. Attempting to add Jolene and Duncan to my property deed. Required. My signature on transfer. I scrolled down, saw the signature, my name and handwriting that wasn't mine. Forged. September 2024, when I'd been hospitalized, when they had access to everything. The county clerk had rejected it, signature didn't match records, but they'd tried. I forwarded to Trevor. Add this to evidence. At Central Precinct, Detective Rodriguez met me. Sharp eyes, tired face of someone who'd seen too much fraud. In her office, small, files stacked everywhere, I walked her through everything. She took notes, asked sharp questions. Then I showed her the evidence, 8 months of recordings, bank statements, the forged deed attempt. She listened to 3 recordings, her expression shifting to controlled anger. These are admissible. Oregon's one-party consent. She made notes. This is prosecutable elder abuse. There's more. I pulled out screenshots. Duncan Parker. Run his name. She typed, waited, her face changed. He's in our system. 3 open fraud investigations, crypto scams, 5 victims, approximately $340,000. He wasn't his first victim. No, sir. She pulled up another file. Your daughter appears in 2 of these cases, listed as business associate, gave presentations to victims. The room tilted. She wasn't just stealing from me. She was accomplice in coordinated fraud operation. We spent 2 hours documenting everything. By the time I left, the machinery was in motion. Criminal investigation. Federal interest. No stopping it now. Quinn's rental car was parked at my house when I arrived. She met me at the door, pulled me into a hug. You look terrible. Hospital chic. Inside, she'd made tea, organized the scattered papers. Goldie filled me in. Forged deed, Toby. They tried to steal your house while you were in hospital. That's calculated. That's not opportunistic crime. That's planned theft. Rodriguez showed me Duncan's file. 5 victims, $340,000. Jolene was accomplice in at least 2 cases. Quinn sat down hard. She's not just your troubled daughter. She's a career criminal. That evening, my phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. Mr. Garrett, Brad Nelson, representing Jolene and Duncan Parker. We need to discuss settlement options. Call me. I deleted the message. Phone buzzed again. Nelson calling. I silenced it. 5 calls in 3 minutes. I turned the phone off. At 11:47 p.m., I gave up on sleep. Went to my study. Found an old recording from when Jolene was 7. Pressed play. Daddy, listen. I learned a song. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Off key. Enthusiastic. Perfect. That child was gone. Outside car engine, headlights swept my window. Car parked in street, sat there. Door opened. Figure stepped out. Jolene. She stood looking at the house, at me visible in the window. We stared at each other across darkness. Her mouth moved. Too far to hear but looked like Daddy. She took 1 step toward the house, stopped, got back in the car, drove away. My phone buzzed. Text from her. I'm sorry. Then, but this isn't over. I poured bourbon and waited for Thursday to begin. Wednesday morning, I met Trevor at Stumptown Coffee downtown. He'd spread documents across our booth, face grim. I found something else. September 24th, 2024. Someone filed paperwork attempting to add Jolene and Duncan to your house deed. I saw the email. Did you see this? He scrolled. They tried 3 times, each attempt rejected. Forged signatures didn't match notarized records. 3 times. 3 attempts to steal my house while hospitalized. They weren't desperate. They were systematic. Professional criminals, Toby. Trevor pulled up another document. I'm filing this as separate charge. Attempted fraud, forgery, theft of property over $500,000. 10 years minimum. My daughter in prison for a decade. File it. After Trevor left, I sat alone, watching Portland Morning Rush. People living normal lives. At home, Quinn had her laptop open, face pale. Been researching Duncan Parker. 6 victims we can confirm. There's a Reddit thread, people comparing notes. She clicked through posts. Person after person describing identical scheme. Total known fraud is closer to $400,000. And Toby, Jolene appears in 4 of these cases. She wasn't reluctant accomplice. She was partner. The doorbell rang. Woman in professional clothes, clipboard. Mr. Garrett. I'm Deline Cruz, Adult Protective Services. Welfare check. Duncan had filed a complaint, trying to paint me as incompetent elderly man. Deline was thorough. Asked about health, medications, living situation. Toured the house. Tested cognition subtly. I scored perfectly. Mr. Garrett, the complaint said you were displaying erratic behavior, possible issues with mental clarity. The complaint was filed by Duncan Parker, man who threatened me. How do you know he filed it? The timing. 2 days after his arrest. Small smile. Fair point. Do you have documentation? How much time do you have? I showed her everything. Her expression shifted from neutral to shocked. Mr. Garrett, whoever filed this complaint did you a favor. This is now official APS case against your daughter. Financial abuse over $50,000, exploitation, systematic fraud. After she left, Quinn hugged me. One good thing today. That evening, Detective Rodriguez called. Following up on yesterday, I've coordinated with federal prosecutors. They're interested in the interstate fraud. We'll need additional statements. Whatever you need. Also, Duncan Parker was picked up this morning for questioning. Different case. Fraud victim filed complaint. He made threats at victim's house last night. My stomach dropped. Is the victim okay? Fine. Neighbor called police. Parker fled, but now he's facing additional charges. Rodriguez paused. Mr. Garrett, Duncan Parker is escalating. Be careful. After hanging up, I told Trevor, his expression darkened. He's cornered. That's dangerous. I'm filing. Emergency restraining order today. Through Wallace's coordination, I arranged an encounter at Departure Lounge, Pearl District Rooftop Bar. Duncan showed up thinking he was meeting a potential investor. Jason Whitmore, victim of Duncan's 2022 scam, happened to be there. Recognition, confrontation. You stole $45,000 from me. Duncan tried denying. Jason had evidence. Voice rising. Everyone watching. Someone called police. Duncan escorted out. Not arrested, but humiliated. The video went online. 8,000 views in an hour. Social destruction spreading in real time. At 10 p.m., email notification. Estate plan updated. Previous version split everything between Jolene and Quinn. New version. Quinn receives 100%. Jolene receives nothing. Beneficiary removed due to systematic financial abuse, theft, fraud. I forwarded to Trevor. Confirmed she received notification. Delivered 10 p.m. She knows. Across town, Jolene was reading that email, learning she'd get nothing. My phone rang. Unknown number. Against better judgment, I answered. You're terrible. Jolene's voice raw. You actually did it. You stole $73,000. I'm your daughter. You forged documents to steal my house while I was in hospital. Silence, then crying. I know what I did. All of it. And I deserve this. But did you have to make it so final? What did you expect? I don't know. For you to love me enough to forgive me. Who did you become, Jolene? Long pause. Someone I don't recognize. Someone who hurt people for money. Someone who doesn't deserve to be your daughter anymore. I didn't know what to say.
I'm pregnant.
For real. 6 weeks. I believe you. The fertility charges were real. Does it matter? I don't know yet. Duncan wants me to. He thinks if there was no baby, she stopped. If naturally. My hand tightened on phone. What did Duncan say exactly? That babies are expensive. That prison doesn't have benefits. That maybe it's better if. Jolene stopped again. Jolene. What did Duncan say? Nothing. Forget it. Tell me. He suggested waiting for you to have another episode. Or not waiting. Just helping it along. The room spun. Can I come see you? Just talk. No. The restraining order gets filed tomorrow. If you come near my house, you'll be arrested. Right. Of course. Bitter laugh. I can't even apologize properly. She hung up. I sat holding the phone. Quinn emerged. Was that her? Yeah. She's pregnant. Really pregnant. And Duncan's been suggesting they wait for me to die or help it along. We need to call Rodriguez. Already texting him. At 2:15 a.m., unable to sleep, I went to my study, looked at evidence box, at everything I'd collected. Quinn found me at dawn. She's pregnant, Quinn. Really pregnant, and I just destroyed her life. She destroyed her own life. With my help. No, she made choices. You stopped being her victim. My phone buzzed. Text from unknown. Mr. Garrett, Duncan here using Julian's phone. She's in hospital. Emergency. You need to come. I stared at it. Quinn read over my shoulder. Could be a trick. Could be real. I called. Duncan answered. What hospital? Asu. Emergency. She took pills. A lot of them. She tried to end things because of you. The room spun. I'm coming. At OHSU, Duncan met us outside. He looked destroyed. She's alive. They treated her. But Toby, this is your fault. You drove her to this. Where is she? Room 7. But before you go in, she's pregnant. Actually pregnant. Ultrasound confirmed it. Doctor. Sarah Chen appeared. My cardiologist, working emergency shift. Mr. Garrett, your daughter overdosed. Approximately 40 tablets combined with alcohol. Neighbor called 911. Paramedics arrived in time. She'll survive. Can I see her? Room 7. But she's pregnant. About 6 weeks. Did you know? I found out yesterday. When stable, she'll transfer to psychiatric unit. 72-hour hold required. I walked to room 7. Jolene in hospital bed, pale, broken. Machines beeping.
Daddy.
Voice raw. I couldn't speak. I'm sorry for everything. Why the pills? Not the pills. Why did I do everything else to you? To those people? Why did I become this person? I sat beside the bed. The baby. Is it real? Yes. Is Duncan's? Yes. Silence. Machines beeping. I got the email. About the will. Yes. I deserve it. Yes. Daddy. I'm going to jail, aren't I? I thought about Rodriguez. 5 victims. Federal prosecutors. Probably. She nodded. Good. I should. What about the baby? I don't know. Maybe it's better if. She stopped. Don't finish that sentence. She looked at me, surprised. That's not a decision for tonight. Her hand moved slightly toward mine. After a long moment, I took it. 1 minute, I said. I stayed 20. When I left, she was sleeping. In the parking garage, I sat in my car. Couldn't start the engine. My daughter tried to end her life, and I'd systematically destroyed everything that might have prevented it. My phone buzzed. Trevor. Heard about Jolene. Hospital confirmed. Friday hearing cancelled. Do you want me to halt civil case? My finger hovered over reply. I typed, continue case against Duncan. Pause case against Jolene until she's medically stable. Trevor understood. I started the car. Drove home through empty Portland streets. Quinn was waiting. How is she? Alive, pregnant, broken. What are you going to do? I don't know. At 10:47 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. Mr. Garrett. Sarah Chun, physician assistant at Laurelhurst Medical. I need to tell you something about your daughter. Is she okay? Physically, yes. This is about something else. Last October, your daughter came to our clinic. She asked about heart medications, how they work, how they could be affected by other drugs. She said she wanted to understand your condition. Ice through my veins. What did you tell her? Everything. Interactions, dangers, combinations. I gave educational materials. I thought I was helping, but after hearing the news, I might have helped her hurt you. Did she know about dangerous interactions? Yes, I explained everything. I'm so sorry. I'm testifying, telling investigators everything. She hung up. Jolene knew. She'd researched it, asked specific questions. The plan wasn't just Duncan's. It was theirs together. Quinn grabbed my shoulders. Toby, what happened? Jolene knew. She researched the medications, the plan to hurt me. It wasn't just Duncan. It was her, too. Oh no. I dropped the civil case 10 minutes ago. Thought I was being merciful. The room tilted. Heart doing complicated things. Quinn called 911. Sirens. Paramedics. Cardiac stress event. We're taking you to OHSU. Same hospital where Jolene stayed. In the ambulance, Quinn held my hand. At OHSU, Dr. Chun stabilized me. Cardiac stress, not full attack, but Mr. Garrett, your body can't sustain this. In hospital room, Quinn showed me text from Rodriguez. Email encryption broken. Sender identified. Brad Nelson, Duncan's former attorney. He was partner in conspiracy. Arrest warrant issued. He's missing. Last seen Monday. Consider him armed and dangerous. I stared at screen. Nelson, the attorney, accomplice, and he was missing. Quinn pressed call button. We need security. Within minutes, police arrived. I lay in bed, heart monitored, guarded by police again. My phone buzzed. Blocked number. You think this ends with Duncan in jail? Look closer. See you in August. Or maybe sooner. I forwarded to Rodriguez. They're getting bolder. That's good for us. Bad for you. Means you're still a target. What do I do? Stay vigilant. We'll find them. Educational materials. I thought I was helping, but after hearing the news, I might have helped her hurt you. Did she know about dangerous interactions? Yes, I explained everything. I'm so sorry. I'm testifying, telling investigators everything. She hung up. Jolene knew. She'd researched it, asked specific questions. The plan wasn't just Duncan's. It was theirs together. Quinn grabbed my shoulders. Toby, what happened? Jolene knew. She researched the medications, the plan to hurt me. It wasn't just Duncan. It was her, too. Oh no. I dropped the civil case 10 minutes ago. Thought I was being merciful. The room tilted. Heart doing complicated things. Quinn called 911. Sirens. Paramedics. Cardiac stress event. We're taking you to OHSU. Same hospital where Jolene stayed. In the ambulance, Quinn held my hand. At OHSU, Dr. Chun stabilized me. Cardiac stress, not full attack, but Mr. Garrett, your body can't sustain this. In hospital room, Quinn showed me text from Rodriguez. Email encryption broken. Sender identified. Brad Nelson, Duncan's former attorney. He was partner in conspiracy. Arrest warrant issued. He's missing. Last seen Monday. Consider him armed and dangerous. I stared at screen. Nelson, the attorney, accomplice, and he was missing. Quinn pressed call button. We need security. Within minutes, police arrived. I lay in bed, heart monitored, guarded by police again. My phone buzzed. Blocked number. You think this ends with Duncan in jail? Look closer. See you in August. Or maybe sooner. I forwarded to Rodriguez. They're getting bolder. That's good for us. Bad for you. Means you're still a target. What do I do? Stay vigilant. We'll find them. Tuesday morning, Dr. Chun released me with warnings about rest. Home felt different. Police outside. Security active. Still didn't feel safe. Rodriguez called. We found something. Nelson's office had files. He was working with Duncan from the start. But there's more. What? He had a daughter, Angela. She died 2 years ago. He blames her husband. Your nephew Marcus, your late wife's sister's son. World stopped. Marcus is dead now. Car accident last year. But Nelson blames my family. This isn't just about helping Duncan. This is personal revenge. I couldn't process it. He's missing, motivated, and dangerous. I'm sending protection detail. After hanging up, I explained to Quinn. Marcus, Mom's nephew. Rodriguez says Nelson blames him, but Marcus died last year. Exactly. Nelson can't punish Marcus, so he's punishing you instead. 3 months until trial. Nelson missing. My health failing. Jolene pregnant and monitored. I'd won the battle. Was losing the war. Saturday morning, I returned to OHSU. Quinn drove. Jolene sat in the common room, medicated but aware, sweatpants, hospital socks.
Daddy.
I sat across from her. Dr. Chun confirmed the pregnancy. 6 weeks. I lied about the timeline. Add it to the list. Why were you trying to get pregnant? Insurance. If I had your grandchild, you couldn't really cut me off. That was the plan. What about the baby? Born to a mother in federal custody. Services will take them, won't they? I didn't answer. We both knew. I'm so tired, Daddy. I've been running so long, I forgot what I was running from. What were you running from? Mom's death? The grief? I don't know. Somewhere between 7 years old and 38, I lost myself. I stood to leave.
Daddy, I'm sorry.
Not because it helps. Just genuinely sorry. I know. Does it matter? I don't know yet. Quinn and I drove home in silence. At the house, I opened my laptop. I need to show you the recordings. All of them. I played them. February hospital recording first, my labored breathing, then nurse calling Jolene. Your father's in emergency. Serious heart event. Jolene's irritated response. Right now, I'm at an event. Fine, tell him I'll come when I can. She came 6 hours later. Quinn cried quietly. I played 8 months of recordings. Duncan and Jolene discussing the house sale, calling me burdens, planning around when he finally goes. When I finished, Quinn closed the laptop. How did you not? Because she's my daughter. She stopped being your daughter when she did this. Both things are true. That evening, Goldie invited us for dinner. Over wine, she told her story. My son Marcus, he's 45 now. Started 20 years ago. Borrowed money, never repaid, then forged a check. $8,000. What did you do? Reported him. My own son. He hasn't spoken to me since. I don't know my grandchildren. Do you regret it? Every single day. Would I do it differently? No. I did the right thing. Still haven't forgiven myself for having to do it. We sat in silence. 3 people who chose justice over family. They'll use everything against you, Goldie warned. The baby, the attempt, it's all ammunition, even if it's real. Late that night, I returned to the hospital. Jolene awake. I sat beside her bed. Couldn't stay away? Something like that. Long silence. Is it true? The pregnancy 6 weeks. I lied about 8 weeks. Why did you try to get pregnant? I told you insurance. Then when it happened, I realized I'm bringing a baby into a nightmare. Daddy, I'm going to jail, aren't I? Probably. I deserve it. Machine beeping filled silence. I took her hand briefly, then left. Driving home, Quinn asked if I was okay. No, but I showed up anyway. That counts for something. At home, I couldn't sleep. Walked through the house at 2 a.m. My house. Safe. Empty. 1 through 8 months of planning. Was it worth it? Monday morning, extra security at courthouse. Death threats meant metal detectors, police presence. Judge Montgomery wanted to see me before the hearing. In chambers, she removed her robe. Mr. Garrett, I've reviewed your evidence. This is remarkable documentation. I need to ask, what do you want? I didn't know how to answer. Your daughter is pregnant, facing federal charges. You've won. But is this the victory you imagined? No. Criminal case proceeds. That's not yours to control. But civil case, that's yours. You could drop it. Should I? Not my place to say. But sometimes victory is knowing when to stop. Back in the hallway, Trevor briefed us. Rodriguez testifies about forgery and conspiracy. It's going to be graphic. Can you handle it? Do I have a choice? You could wait outside. No, I need to hear it. At 9 a.m., courtroom filled. Duncan in custody, jail orange, public defender beside him. Jolene transported from psychiatric ward, donated clothes. Our eyes met. She looked away first. Judge. Preliminary hearing in state versus Duncan Parker and Jolene Parker. Proceed. Trevor stood. Evidence of systematic elder abuse, financial exploitation, attempted property theft, and conspiracy. First evidence, recordings played in open court. Jolene and Duncan discussing the house, calling me burdens, waiting for nature to take its course. Jolene cried silently. Duncan's face hardened. Second evidence, bank statements. $73,000 in unauthorized charges. Third evidence, police reports. The confrontation, the threats. Then Rodriguez took the stand. Detective, what did you find on Mr. Parker's laptop? Folder titled, Estate Planning. Medical folder contained research about cardiac medications, dangerous interactions. Why would he have this? Creation dates correspond with Mr. Garrett's hospitalizations. September when he was hospitalized. February after second episode. What else? Email correspondence discussing ways to cause harm. Courtroom went silent. Rodriguez read emails, every word landing like a hammer. Duncan shot to his feet. This is nonsense. That old man is playing everyone. Jolene spent $85,000 on gambling. Ask her. She's pregnant. You're sending a baby's father to jail. Bailiffs approached. Order in the court. Jolene screamed, Daddy, I love you. I looked at her directly. No, you love my money. There's a difference. Judge pounded gavel. Minutes to settle the courtroom. At 2:30, Judge Montgomery ruled. In 23 years, I've rarely seen such systematic elder abuse. Evidence is overwhelming. Court fines for plaintiff. Judgment $127,000.
Restitution plus fait.
Restraining order 5 years. Criminal charges transmitted to district attorney. Ms. Parker remanded to federal custody pending trial. I recommend mercy consideration given cooperation and pregnancy, but consequences are real. Gavel. Jolene led away. Duncan already in California prison. I sat at the table, victory hollow. Outside media circus, cameras, questions. Then I saw her. Jolene, temporarily released for transport, standing alone on courthouse steps. Our eyes met. Toby, you don't have to. I know. I approached, 10 feet between us.
Daddy, I'm sorry.
I know it's not enough, but I'm sorry. Silence. Duncan left. Won't acknowledge the baby. I'm alone and I deserve it. But I wanted you to know I remember being 7, Saturday market. You finding me? Don't. I'm going to rehab. 90 days. Costs $8,000. I don't have it, but I'm finding a way because I need to be better for the baby. My hand went to my jacket. Toby, don't. I wrote a check, handed it to her. This is the last money you get from me. Last help. Last chance. You go to rehab, finish program, get a job, pay back at least half what you stole. Then maybe we talk. Maybe. But this is over. You're not my daughter anymore. You lost that. You want it back? Earn it. Take years. Might never happen. But that's on you now. She clutched the check, sobbing. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank your baby. I'm doing this for an innocent child, not for you. I turned, walked away. Jolene stood alone on courthouse steps, pregnant, broke, holding a check, watching her father leave. I got into Trevor's car, didn't look back. 3 weeks after trial, Saturday afternoon warm and peaceful, I sat on my front porch watching Quinn's children play in the yard. Her kids, my grandchildren through choice, ages 8 and 5, chasing each other with water guns while Quinn and James grilled burgers. Goldie had come over bringing potato salad. Simple, normal, the life I'd fought for. Mail arrived. Quinn brought it to the porch. Bills, junk mail, then an envelope from Serenity Path Recovery Center, Eugene, Oregon. I stared at it. That's where Jolene is. I know. I opened it. Letter from her therapist. Mr. Garrett, with your daughter's permission, I'm writing to update you. Jolene has completed 45 of 90 days. Her progress is genuine, real engagement, with accountability. She speaks of you often with regret and understanding that she destroyed your relationship. She doesn't expect forgiveness, but hopes you'll know she's trying. The baby is healthy. She's preparing for single motherhood while incarcerated. Thought you'd want to know. I folded the letter, put it in my pocket. Phone rang an hour later. Trevor. Duncan was arrested again. San Francisco. Another fraud scheme while out on bail. Defrauded 3 new victims. $60,000. Some people never learn. Prosecutors are done. 10 to 15 years federal now. During dinner, Goldie told stories about her son. Haven't spoken to Marcus in 15 years. 3 kids I've never met. His oldest just graduated high school. My grandson, stranger to me. James asked, do you regret it? Every day. Would I do it differently? No. He stole from me. I had to choose. Enable him or protect myself. I chose me. Cost everything. But I sleep at night. After dinner, Quinn stopped me. Can I say something? Always. Thank you for fighting back, for not letting them destroy you, for being here for my kids. I hugged her. You chose me. That matters. But the baby is innocent. We'll figure it out. Baby will have family. You, me, Goldie, James, your kids. We are family. Not blood always, but choice definitely. After Quinn's family settled, I went to my sound recording studio. 47 vintage recorders on shelves. I picked up the Sony, the one that recorded everything, held it heavy with memories, placed it carefully on the shelf. Goodbye, I whispered to the past too. The investigation, to the daughter I lost, to the war I won. Phone buzzed. Quinn. Kids want grandpa's story. You coming? I smiled. Real smile. Typed coming. Miles Davis played softly. Blue and green. I looked at the photo on the wall. Me and 7-year-old Jolene at Saturday market, both laughing. That day existed. That love was real. What came after doesn't erase it, just makes it sadder. I touched the frame briefly. Didn't take it down. Left it. Memory of what was. Reminder of what broke. Both necessary. Turned off the light. Closed the door. Walked toward the living room where Quinn's kids were waiting for stories. This was my family now. Chose me as much as I chose them. Blood didn't determine loyalty. Choices did. I settled into my chair. Quinn's daughter climbed into my lap. Son leaned against the chair arm. What kind of story tonight? Dragon Knights. Space dragons. I laughed. Space dragons it is. Once upon a time, there was a dragon who lived on Jupiter. Kids entranced. Quinn watching with a soft smile. Goldie's needles clicking rhythm. James half asleep. Normal family, peace through the open window. Sounds of summer evening, crickets, distant traffic, life continuing. In Eugene, Jolene lay in rehab, hand on growing belly, writing letters that might never be answered. In San Francisco, Duncan sat in jail, facing a decade in prison, destroyed by his own choices. Somewhere unknown, Nelson hiding, running, trapped. And in my living room, I told stories to children who loved me, surrounded by chosen family in the house I'd fought for, victorious and hollow and grateful and sad all at once. Living in complicated peace that comes after necessary war. On the table by the door, one envelope remained unopened. From Oregon Department of Corrections, postmarked 3 days ago. I'd seen it, chose not to open it. Not yet. Maybe tomorrow, maybe never. Some doors close, some stay ajar, some you decide about later. For now, there were dragon. The investigation, to the daughter I lost, to the war I won. Phone buzzed. Quinn. Kids want grandpa's story. You coming? I smiled. Real smile. Typed coming. Miles Davis played softly. Blue and green. I looked at the photo on the wall. Me and 7-year-old Jolene at Saturday market, both laughing. That day existed. That love was real. What came after doesn't erase it, just makes it sadder. I touched the frame briefly. Didn't take it down. Left it. Memory of what was. Reminder of what broke. Both necessary. Turned off the light. Closed the door. Walked toward the living room where Quinn's kids were waiting for stories. This was my family now. Chose me as much as I chose them. Blood didn't determine loyalty. Choices did. I settled into my chair. Quinn's daughter climbed into my lap. Son leaned against the chair arm. What kind of story tonight? Dragon Knights. Space dragons. I laughed. Space dragons it is. Once upon a time, there was a dragon who lived on Jupiter. Kids entranced. Quinn watching with a soft smile. Goldie's needles clicking rhythm. James half asleep. Normal family, peace through the open window. Sounds of summer evening, crickets, distant traffic, life continuing. In Eugene, Jolene lay in rehab, hand on growing belly, writing letters that might never be answered. In San Francisco, Duncan sat in jail, facing a decade in prison, destroyed by his own choices. Somewhere unknown, Nelson hiding, running, trapped. And in my living room, I told stories to children who loved me, surrounded by chosen family in the house I'd fought for, victorious and hollow and grateful and sad all at once. Living in complicated peace that comes after necessary war. On the table by the door, one envelope remained unopened. From Oregon Department of Corrections, postmarked 3 days ago. I'd seen it, chose not to open it. Not yet. Maybe tomorrow, maybe never. Some doors close, some stay ajar, some you decide about later. For now, there were dragon stories to tell. And that was enough. Reflective wrap-up. Justice comes in many forms. Sometimes it's legal, sometimes it's social, and sometimes it's simply choosing yourself over those who would destroy you. But the cost of justice can be high, measured not in money or possessions but in pieces of your heart. The question isn't whether revenge is sweet, it's whether you can live with yourself after serving it. For me, the answer came in the laughter of children who chose me as their grandfather, in the quiet peace of a house reclaimed, and in the knowledge that sometimes the hardest thing to do is also the right thing. Outro call to action. If this story gave you chills, Smash that like button and tell us in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? And of course, subscribe for more stories like this. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, remember that justice isn't just about revenge, it's about reclaiming your power. Because she's my daughter. She stopped being your daughter the moment she chose money over your life, Quinn said quietly, almost apologetically, as if she hated the truth even while speaking it. I leaned back in my chair, the leather groaning under the weight of everything I'd endured, everything I was still trying to understand. The room felt smaller than it had an hour ago, shrinking with every memory resurfacing, every betrayal replayed through those recordings, every realization that the person I had raised, loved, protected, and forgiven had looked at my life as nothing more than a financial obstacle to clear. But that wasn't what hurt the most. What hurt was the memory lodged somewhere deep inside me, Jolene at 5 years old, running across our backyard with her scraped knees and lopsided ponytail, clutching a popsicle in each hand and shouting, "One for you, Daddy." That child had existed. I knew she had. I remembered her laughter, her stubbornness, her softness. So when did she turn into the woman in those recordings? When she's in that hospital bed, I murmured, my voice lower than I intended, she doesn't look like a criminal. She looks like my little girl who lost her way. Quinn shook her head. Toby, people don't just lose their way and end up planning their own father's death. That's not lost. That's a path. A choice. A pattern. I know, I whispered. And I did. Rationally, I knew every word she said was true. But love rarely consults logic. Love is blind, desperate, delusional when it needs to be. Love keeps handing out second chances even after the first 100 have been shattered. I rubbed my eyes with the heels of my hands. It would be easier if she hated me. If she screamed. If she denied everything. But she didn't, Quinn said softly. She broke. And that makes this harder for you. I nodded. Because that was the cruelest part. Jolene's collapse didn't absolve her. It only made the emotional wreckage more complicated, more suffocating. She wasn't a one-note villain. She was a human disaster, guilty, manipulative, traumatized, selfish, terrified, remorseful. A storm with no eye. Quinn reached over and laid her hand on my arm. You didn't destroy her life, Toby. She did that herself. You just stopped her from destroying yours. I swallowed hard. Stopping her meant almost losing her. But you didn't lose her, Quinn said. Not yet. And maybe not forever. I looked toward the window, where the streetlights glowed against the dark Portland night. Somewhere across the city, Jolene was lying in a hospital bed, pregnant, medicated, handcuffed emotionally to consequences she'd spent years outrunning. Duncan was facing a slow-grinding legal machine that would peel him down to bone. Nelson was out there somewhere, feeding on old grudges like a wolf circling a wounded herd. And my heart, already cracked from months of poison, felt more fragile than ever. I need to rest, I said finally. But as I stood, I realized rest wasn't what I needed. What I needed was time. Time to decide whether the man Jolene tried to kill and the father she now cried out for could coexist in the same body. Quinn followed me to the doorway. Tomorrow's another day, she said. That's what I'm afraid of, I replied. I didn't make it to bed. I tried, walked down the hallway with the intention of collapsing into whatever dreamless void my body could find, but the moment I passed my office door, something stopped me. Not a sound. Not a thought. Just a pull. A weight in my chest that tightened like a hand inside my ribs. The office was dark except for the blinking blue light of the security console, silent, steady, patient. I stood there staring at it, a small island of color in a room built on shadows. I didn't want to go in. I didn't want to know what else the world planned to take from me tonight. But some things don't wait for morning. I stepped inside, flicked on the lamp, and opened the console. One unread alert. Time stamped 8 minutes ago. Motion detection triggered at my storage unit, Unit 14B. The same unit Jolene had accessed the night she set all of this in motion. I felt my pulse rise, slow but heavy, like drums echoing through water. Quinn had already gone upstairs. She hadn't heard the alert. She didn't see the second notification that appeared a heartbeat later. Keypad override used. Code entered, 0-7-1-9. My birthday. The one code I'd never written down, never shared, never changed. For a long moment, I just stared, my breath locked somewhere behind my sternum. Then the third alert came. Video file uploaded, Cam 14B. My fingers hesitated only once before clicking it open. The camera feed was grainy black and white, with the cold stillness of underground concrete. The unit door rolled up, and a figure stepped inside, hooded, slow, deliberate. I leaned closer. Not Duncan. Not Nelson. Not anyone I recognized. Tall. Thin. Moving with the confidence of someone who knew exactly what they'd come for. The figure knelt beside the metal trunk in the back corner, the one I hadn't opened in almost a decade because some memories rot better in darkness. They didn't force it open. They typed a code. 0-7-1-9. My skin went cold. The lid lifted. Inside the trunk were things no one should have known existed. Sealed folders, old case notes from the days I used to consult, items from crime scenes long buried in both time and confidentiality. The hooded figure didn't rummage. Didn't hesitate. They pulled out a single envelope. Thin. White. Marked with a date I hadn't thought about in years. September 14th, JG, confidential. My initials. Confidential. A date tied to a case I had never spoken of, not to Jolene, not to Quinn, not to anyone still alive. The figure held the envelope up to the camera for a full second. A silent message. Then they left. The video froze on the last frame, my own locked trunk, gaping open like a wound. I didn't move. Couldn't. Because I remembered what was in that envelope. A secret I had buried so deeply I'd convinced myself it no longer existed. Something from the year Jolene was born. Something that could tear apart everything, my life, the investigation, every fragile thread holding the truth together. And as the reality settled over me, I understood the twist with a clarity that made my vision blur. Someone wasn't just trying to frame me. Someone knew. Someone had always known. And they'd waited 28 years for the exact moment when my world was weak enough, cracked enough, to break it open again. For a long time I just sat there, staring at the screen as if the pixels might rearrange themselves into a face I recognized. My hands felt numb on the edge of the desk, and the quiet of the house grew heavier, thicker, like the air itself was waiting for me to break. 28 years. I had buried that envelope so deep it should have dissolved into. Too loud. Too close. As if the walls themselves were listening. I need to wake Quinn, I whispered, but even as I said it, another thought rose, uninvited and razor-sharp. What if I wasn't supposed to find this yet? What if the break-in wasn't the real move, just the warning shot? What if someone was pushing me toward something? My pulse thumped in my ears. I replayed the moment the intruder held up the envelope. Not hurried. Not nervous. Not like someone stealing evidence. It was a message. A taunt. A reminder. I know what you buried. I know what you're hiding. And I'm not done. A floorboard groaned somewhere upstairs. I turned instinctively, listening. Silence. Then another sound, soft, careful, almost thoughtful. Footsteps. Slow ones. Not heading toward me. Heading toward Quinn's room. My heart stopped. I stood so fast the chair slammed into the wall behind me. The house, once familiar, once safe, felt twisted now, like I was walking inside someone else's memory. Quinn. I called, louder than I intended. No answer. The footsteps stopped. For one suspended second, the entire world held still. Then, another sound, faint and unmistakable. A door easing open upstairs. Not mine. Hers. I stood at the foot of the stairs with a strange frozen awareness of a man who has finally run out of lies to tell himself. The house didn't feel like mine anymore. It felt like a place wearing my life's skin, a structure filled with memories and echoes that no longer answered to me. The silence had changed, become denser, almost physical, like the air had weight now, like it was made of old secrets and old sins stirred awake after decades of pretending to sleep. My hand tightened around the railing, and I could feel my heartbeat pulsing against the wood, slow and heavy, as if urging me back, urging me to stop before I learned something I couldn't unlearn. But the truth has a gravity all its own. I took the first step, and the wood gave a soft, strained sigh beneath my foot. Upstairs, the darkness seemed to breathe in response. Quiet, controlled, patient. I ascended one step at a time, feeling the years peel back with each movement, feeling every mistake I'd ever made gather behind me like a silent procession. The video. The envelope. The date. The intruder moving with the eerie certainty of someone who had studied my life long enough to call it their own. None of this was random. None of this was new. This wasn't an attack. It was an unveiling, slow, methodical, orchestrated with the precision of someone who knew exactly how to dismantle me piece by piece. By the time I reached the halfway point, the house no longer felt dark, it felt expectant. Like it was holding its breath. Like it was waiting for me to step into the place where everything I had buried would finally be waiting to look me in the eyes. And in that suspended, suffocating quiet, a single truth settled into my bones with unbearable clarity. I wasn't walking toward danger. I was walking toward a past I had abandoned, and it had come back to finish the conversation I ran away from 28 years ago.